like, built-in babysitter, please?
Hätte so 25 Kilo vom Körpergewicht komplett. Das heißt, Nike würde eine nehmen.
Scene for either your day trip to Swanage, sea train adventure or Jurassic circular cruise. Can I have your attention for a few moments please while I run through the safety features of this vessel. In the unlikely event of an emergency, you'll hear a signal of 7 or more short blasts followed by 1 long blast on the whistle. And if you hear this signal, please remain calm, remain seated and obey any instructions of the skipper or the crew. We have life-saving appliances on board for all persons. Life jackets are located underneath the bench seating on the upper and lower saloon decks. And on the roof of the upper saloon you'll find 3 inflatable life rafts. These are supplemented by additional float-free life rafts. We also carry first aid equipment, life rings and fire extinguishers, but all of this equipment must only be used in an emergency. There's a white and blue sailing vessel just in front of some fields on the harbour's edge. Look above the fields, you'll see the ruins of the castle there in the gap between 2 of the smaller and darker foreground hills and up against the larger hill behind. The castle is in the ruined state it's in today because of action during the English Civil War, and during that conflict it was a royalist stronghold owned by the Banks family. Now, the Banks family were mostly on the side of the king. Certainly Lady Banks was. She was the one that organised the defence of the castle against many sieges by Parliament's forces. But while her husband Lord Banks was off hiding in London, he was actually a member of Parliament. Eventually though, Parliament's army did succeed in capturing the castle after Lady Banks was betrayed by one of her colonels who left the gates to the castle grounds open, allowing the army to enter. They then blew the castle up using many barrels of gunpowder, leaving it to the ruin that it is today.
That's just the way she liked it, as she was a bit of a recluse. She is the one who is largely responsible for turning the island into the nature reserve that it is today. As before her time, it was actually quite an industrial place, particularly the western side, which was home to a large Victorian pottery. Expect to a village at a time. Shop, post office, lots of houses, and most importantly, a pub. England then started to demolish the village and discourage anyone from returning. Perhaps the island's most famous animal residents, though, are the red squirrels. One of 2 places to find them in the local area are also found on neighbouring Thursday Island. who live there year round, looking after the island for the National Trust. If you would like to visit Currency Island, you will need to take one of the orange ferries from Poole. They'll drop you off at this public pier just coming out to our right, but in addition to the ferry fare, you would have to pay the National Trust a landing fee. That's if you're not a member. The largest building on the island is the castle, and it was built by Henry VIII during the mid-1500s in order to defend Poole against invasion from the French and the Spanish. This smaller grey building to our right is the old gunner's house of the castle, and it's now in use as the island's cafe. If you look along the low brick wall in front of it, you'll see 10 holes in the wall. That's 10 gun ports for the cannons that used to be there to ward off any invaders. While the cream-coloured building is a fairly good match for the castle estate, it's actually quite a new addition. It was built in the 1800s and is what is known as a gentleman's folly. It's what the rich and well-to-do at the time used to build themselves in order to show off their vast wealth. It didn't actually serve any purpose at the time, but is now in use as the waiting room for the castle's ferry. We're just slowing down again because the Swanage chain ferry is about to get underway. She's just raised her black ball above her control room to indicate she's on the move, and now she's flashing up white lights, so she is definitely moving now. It is a requirement that all vessels give way to the ferry once she is underway. This rule was brought in after a series of unfortunate incidents occurred here, where people thought they could beat the ferry but underestimated the strength of the tide here, and they ended up getting swept onto the side of the ferry. Some people were actually sucked underneath it and spat out the other side by the tide.
On two large steel chains. If she didn't have those, she would be unable to hold herself against the strong tidal flows experienced here. It carries a mix of cars, foot passengers, light freight, and a local bus service. It's used as a shortcut to get between the Poole and Bournemouth side of the harbour, across to the Isle of Purbeck to our right, and the town of Swanage on the opposite side of the hills. If you decided to drive from Sandbanks on our left round to Swanage without using the ferry, that would be a 25-mile road trip. Using the ferry though reduces this down to only 7, so she is quite a fuel saver, especially at today's prices, though many people say that she is one of the most expensive ferry crossings in the world for the distance covered. And the quickest way from Poole town centre to the Swanage town centre is still on board the Solent Scene. So we've now left Poole Harbour, starting our crossing of Poole Bay. On either side of us we have the lovely golden sand beaches. We are very proud of our beaches here in South East Dorset. Many of them hold blue flag ratings due to their excellent water quality and standards of upkeep. They are incredibly popular, especially on days like today. You can see the beaches to our left are almost full up already. In fact, you can see they look full pretty much all the way to Bournemouth at least. I understand yesterday that the beach car parks were full by 9:30, so you do need to get here early if you want to get the space. It's not helped by the fact that they are currently holding a beach polo match on the beach over to our left. It was a major embarkation point for the actual landings, with many thousands of American troops boarding their landing craft in Poole Harbour in order to head out across the English Channel to join in the liberation of Europe, starting on the 6th of June 1944. You'd be hard pressed not to find a fossil. If you are particularly interested in fossil hunting, I can highly recommend a visit to Kimmeridge Bay. It is to the west of Swanage. Fossils absolutely everywhere there. You would need to make your own way there though. There is no public transport because it's in the middle of nowhere. chalk stacks, which Old Harry rocks are famous for, are the result of many hundreds, if not thousands of years of coastal erosion. And in order to form a chalk stack, you must first have a small cave. These then open up into arches. You can see a number of them across to our right. Eventually those arches will become so large they're no longer able to support the weight of the chalk above, which will then collapse down, leaving only a stack. The stack at the end of the formation is Old Harry himself, and he was once joined by his wife, but she fell into the sea over a century ago, leaving only the smaller stump next to Harry. We have now entered Swanage Bay. The town of Swanage is directly ahead of us, and it's started its life out as a sleepy little fishing village, but massively increased in both sides. Right, very shortly we will be coming alongside Swanage Pier. If you are leaving us here, I do hope you have enjoyed your time on board the Solent Scene. Hope you found the commentary interesting and informative. If you have enjoyed the cruise and the commentary and would like to show your appreciation to the crew, in place of each additional captain's hat, we do leave a small metal tin by the gangway. If you drop a few coins or notes in as you see appropriate, this is very much appreciated by the crew. You have our thanks for anything you drop in there. And on behalf of crew members Stephen and Jade, and of course myself, Lewis, I'd like to thank you all very much for joining us. Thank you for choosing Coastal Cruises Poole.